PNR Networks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNR Networks. And thanks for your support.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Okay, salutes are over here. Everything's there. All right. Are you ready yet?
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, I will be ready in a second.
Yeah?
Do we have very teeny tiny red boots? I need 4 of them.
Why?
For this. We're getting ready. It's important. It's here. It's finally here. A solo movie about a female superhero. And that somebody actually did right. It's finally here. We have to dress for it.
Honey, you have a male stuffed hedgehog dressed as Wonder Woman. What is this?
Hubert wanted to get involved too. So he's Wonder Hedgehog.
Can't he be Steve Trevor?
Ew, no. He doesn't want to be rescued. He wants to do the rescuing.
I'm not having this conversation. We're also going to other drive-ins this week as we continue a fun summer in the sun, rain, shade, fog, everything, because the drive-ins are always open unless the weather is really terrible.
Unless you live in New England and we have 8 feet of snow.
And in the summertime?
This is New England.
Oh, well, yeah, true. All that here right now. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Stick around. We got more where that's from.
On Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer.
Good evening, folks, and a hearty welcome to our drive-in theater.
Subject Cinema.
Drive-In Summer.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema.
Drive-In Summer.
She's here. She's here. She's finally here in a solo movie all by herself in her own glory. She's here. She's here. She's here. I'm excited.
I never would have guessed. Yike. It's not like the character hasn't been around for 70 years.
I
plus
realize
years.
that, but she's finally got the spotlight all to herself where she belongs.
Okay, fine.
So there. And she's here. And I'm excited. And it was awesome.
And Barry the Sock Monkey, Rainbow Sock Monkey, and Hubert the...
Wonder Hedgehog.
Okay. Welcome to Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema number 570, day and date June 4th, 2017. This is Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer, all summer long. Lots of crazy stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Kim has been super excited about Wonder Woman, which will be in the main screen this week. How are you? How is your week? How is things going? And are you any more well than last time that I saw you? Because you've been acting very unwell this week just because of this movie.
Well, I've been okay. Well, this week's been a
So
little
we're here
bit...
humming the Wonder Woman theme and substituting the word hedgehog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, everybody's got a hobby. So, I guess I've been okay. I mean, this week's been a little bit crazy, but, a lot of vibe fluctuations and stuff like that. Everybody seems to be really manic this week. Everybody's really up or down. Nobody's, really level and chill. But I think maybe that's because, it's almost summer. We finally hit June, and it's 60 degrees out. I mean, not like I'm complaining.
No, it's nice. It's been, we got up to 80 one day last week. It's
Yeah.
not too bad, but we have had a lot of rain.
Yeah.
Rainy days.
We've
So
had
is the
very-
Midwest. Our friends Eric Lyon and Valerie Lyon out there at Cavebabble, who will be on the show this week.
Yeah.
Been dealing with tornadoes and all kinds of stuff in the last
Yeah.
couple of weeks, so it's not fun.
And we're glad they're okay.
Yeah.
But you were out yesterday doing a little shopping, and it was like, hey, it looks like it's going to rain. Sploosh.
No, it
Sploosh.
didn't look like. I went to the store. We live 2 blocks from the supermarket we go to. I got over almost to the sidewalk of the supermarket, and all of a sudden the heavens opened up and the downpour started with no warning. The sun was still shining. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I got
For 2
soaked
minutes.
for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And there were people coming out of the door. Was like, what the hell is going on? It's just, it's one of those things.
There's a saying up here in New England, if
The
you don't
curse
like
of Al Gore.
No. That's the curse of the Bambino when we finally broke that. Go Sox! But there's a saying up here in New England, if you don't like the weather, wait 2 minutes, it'll change. And people who don't live here think that's just some cute, quaint saying. It's not.
It's not. It actually works.
It's really true. But other than that, I think it's been pretty okay. It's another month, June's busting out all over, as they say, which
more
is
and more cliche every second.
Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer, now with more cliches. And we know that school's going to be getting out soon for all you kiddos out
Some
there.
people, some of them are getting out till the end of
Oh,
June.
I know, it's completely nuts. I didn't think
We didn't even
people-
have that many snow days up here this year,
No.
but it was just the way that we do
No,
things
everybody
up here.
I talk to, I'm like, hey, when's your kid getting out of school? Oh, June 20, whatever. I'm like, what?
We used to get out like
weird.
June 2nd, June
Yeah.
3rd. It was like, okay.
So I guess everybody's going to be queuing up schools out on their MP3 players and such.
Yep.
If anybody still remembers that song, sob.
Everybody still remembers that song. They're not
so.
that old. And it's time to put the top down and head into the car and tool down the highway for the latest and the open air main screen as we take a look at the first ever big screen edition of Wonder Woman.
She's here!
The main screen.
Diana. Fighting does not make you a hero.
What if I promise to be careful? Just a shield then.
Diana.
No sharp edges.
Be careful of mankind, Diana. They do not deserve you.
You've told me this story.
Women everywhere have been waiting for this, and so have comic book fans. It's never happened before. It's the first of the current generation of comic book families on the screen to feature a woman in the lead. The first solo feature for a main female character. And we have got a review of it. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine starring in the latest in the DC Extended Universe film, Wonder Woman. Give us a rundown.
This will be done without squeeing, I promise. We begin...
Yes, remember that you are an objective reviewer.
Right. Okay. Anyway, fine. We begin in modern-day Paris, where Diana Prince, who is a member of the antiques department of the Louvre, is given a package which contains a photograph from World War I sent by the CEO of Wayne Enterprises, Bruce Wayne, with a note asking about the story of the people in the photograph, considering one of the people in the photograph is Diana in a very interesting costume, surrounded by a group of men who are all wearing period clothing as well. And we see Diana's story, which begins very, very far away in a place that most people...
But in the present galaxy.
Yes.
Sorry, you left me wide open for that.
Don't mix up universes. Although the image of Wonder Woman with a lightsaber is so kick-ass. Anyway, seriously, the island of Themyscira, which is protected from the man's world, is the home of a race of legendary warrior women, the Amazons. The Amazons have only one child among them, the daughter of Queen Hippolyta, a little girl named Diana. Hippolyta has told her daughter the story of where she came from, that Hippolyta wanted a child so badly that she sculpted a child from clay, and because she was so desperate, Zeus, the king of the gods of Greek mythology, granted her prayers and gave life to the statue, and that's how she got her daughter Diana. Hippolyta has also told Diana the story of mankind and how mankind was created, that mankind was created by Zeus, and all of the other gods were happy with his creation of mankind except one, Zeus's son Ares, the god of war, who felt that human beings were a mistake and constantly tried to destroy them. And when all the other gods were like, hey, wait a minute, knock that off, Ares killed all the other gods except for Zeus, who was able to banish him, and with his dying breath created this haven for the Amazons where they've lived in peace for all of these years. But they do know that Ares is still out there somewhere in the man's world plotting his return. But the Amazons have a plan for this, and the plan for this involves a beautiful sword called the God Killer, which Hippolyta tells her daughter that she will never wield because it's supposed to be wielded by the greatest warrior in the Amazon kingdom, which is a path that Hippolyta does not want her daughter to go down. Because let's face it, what parent wants their child to go off and become a warrior? Not that many, because we love our kids and we don't want them to get hurt. Diana, however, has her own plans for her life, and she grows up, although nobody else ages. Go figure that one out. And she becomes a beautiful woman who is determined to find some way to become the warrior that she should be, because she's blessed with incredible strength and endurance and all kinds of amazing things like that. The way she finds her destiny comes in a pretty odd way when a plane crashes near Paradise Island, or Themyscira, back during World War I era.
Yes, remember, it's World War I in this movie.
Yeah.
Different from the original origin.
Diana rescues the pilot of said craft, which turns out to be, gasp, a man. In fact, the first man Diana has ever clapped eyes on. It turns out that said man is Colonel Steve Trevor, who, in this film he's a captain. He is a member of the United States Army Air Service, and he's also a spy who was spying on the Germans, found out about a terrible new weapon that their scientist, Dr. Maru, is working on, and fled with the information and was shot down and wound up being saved by Diana. A battle ensues on the beaches of Themyscira between the Amazons and the Germans who were chasing after Trevor, and the man's world has made its way to Themyscira, and Diana is determined to go into the man's world to fight against Ares, who she is convinced is causing all of the turmoil and destruction that Steve Trevor tells her is going on during the war to end all wars. Diana returns to the man's world with Steve to kill Ares, and she's convinced that if she can find Ares and kill him, that men will all of a sudden be released from Ares' spell, and everybody will be okay, and everything will be all hand-holding and lovey-dovey, and thus begins a mission into the heart of war and the heart of what makes somebody a hero.
Okay. With Gal Gadot as Diana Prince, a.k.a. Wonder Woman, with Lily Aspel and Emily Carey playing younger Diana in sequences at the beginning. Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. Robin Wright as General Antiope. Is that how it's pronounced?
Antiope, I think.
Antiope?
Antiope. I don't think you pronounced it.
I thought there was an E on the end of it. Danny Houston as General Ludendorff. David Touillis as Sir Patrick Morgan, the man in charge of the Imperial War Cabinet's Armistice Agreement. Connie Nielsen as Queen Hippolyta. Elenia Anya as Dr. Maru, otherwise known as Dr. Poison. Lucy Davis as Etta Candy. Saeed Tagamawi, as Samir, one of Steve's group of agents, along with Ewan Bremer as Charlie and Eugene Brave Rock as Chief. Plus, there are other appearances by Lisa Loven-Consgill, Mei Ling Ing, Florence Kasuma, Madeline Val Banger, and Ann Wolfe as Amazons, and Samantha Joe as one of the doctors on Themyscira. So, you've been waiting for this for a long, long time. It's been 30-plus years since the Linda Carter series.
Yes.
What was your expectations and what was your opinion?
Well, my expectations were pretty high since we saw the first incarnation of this Wonder Woman in Batman vs. Superman and sat there going, holy crap, she's amazing. Again, this is the third movie this year that I went into being like, oh, this is going to be awesome and great and terrific and all that stuff like that, and I come out of it bawling my eyes out. I don't know if it's the movies or me, but good grief.
It's a little both, I think.
This kicked ass. This is so amazing on so many levels. It is epic. It is tragic. There's also a very positive glimmer of hope at the end of it. I will be honest and put a caveat in for those of us who are of a certain age. That would be me, him, and most of our buddies. Mm-hmm. If you grew up reading Wonder Woman way back in the day.
In the comic books.
Or
the Linda Carter
version.
Or
the Linda Carter version. Or the Super Friends. So on and so forth. You are going to be sitting there going, what? Take all that stuff, put it in the back of your mind, and remember, reboots are as common in the comic book industry as evil twins are with soap operas.
It's called retconning.
And
yes. This one is retcon to the current DC New 52
the New
universe.
52, yeah. Gal Gadot is unbelievable as Wonder Woman, who is actually never referred to as Wonder Woman in the film. She's only referred to as
in
Diana.
The title. Yep.
Yes. Which makes sense because for the most part, most people don't know who she is. Mm-hmm. You know, she literally looks like she could have stepped off the pages of a comic book. And it's not just because of her physical appearance, which I will be the first to admit I have a ridiculously sized girl crush on Gal Gadot right now. Gadot. I'm so
Gotta
sorry.
Get it right.
I'm so sorry. She is this athletic, beautiful cut. I mean, she's got arms.
She is very. Yes.
She's got arms that I would kill for. And she's just this athletically beautiful, carved out of marble being that is so wonderful to look at, who has these unbelievably kind eyes. Uh-huh. I have always said that Wonder Woman is a very different character from other superheroes besides the obvious, things like breasts. A lot of superheroes... No, hold up, listen to me. A lot of superheroes have their motivation. Everybody has their motivation why they do what they do. A lot of male superheroes, their motivation comes from two sources. Duty or obligation, which would be Superman. Uh-huh. The whole, I was raised on this planet, so I feel obligated to protect it.
Right, okay.
And guilt.
As in Batman.
As in Batman, as in Spider-Man, as in I would actually say the Fantastic Four. Reed puts together the group because he feels guilty that they went through this transformation with the cosmic rays and all that. Spider-Man feels like he needs to become a crime fighter.
Let's forget about Marvel stuff. Let's stick with DC.
Because of Uncle Ben. And Batman feels like he needs to become a crime fighter because of the murder of his parents. Wonder Woman was the first character who is like, I am going to become a superhero, and I'm going to do all these things, not out of a dark place, but out of a light place. She's doing this out of love. And that is so powerful. And that just radiates off of Gal Gadot. I think that it just completely, she's like the sun, the way it just beams out of her. And when I say love, I'm not saying love as in earthy, crunchy granola, hey man, peace, I'm never going to raise my hand in anger kind of thing. Because that's not accurate either. Because she kicks a ridiculous amount of ass and looks fantastic while she's doing it.
Yep.
But the fact that you see this person who can do all of this stuff and be an incredible warrior, and you can see the pain in her eyes when she's walking across the bridge in London and seeing the men who have been brought back from the war, who are missing body parts, who are missing part of their souls. You can look in their eyes and see these men are shattered and broken beyond repair. And that hurts her. And I think that is really beautiful. And in the hands of a lesser actress, it wouldn't have come through.
Okay.
I think everybody in this film does an amazing job with the parts they have. Chris Pine, we gave a lot of garbage to Chris. We love you, Chris. We do. But we were calling him a Mansell in distress and so on and so forth.
Well, that's the Steve Trevor character.
Yeah,
overall.
and Chris, you do that really well. You really do.
Except we never really got to see him do that whole routine like we used to see Lyle Wagner do it on the TV show.
Well, no, we didn't. Not completely. I want to bring up another person real quick, just super duper fast. Ewan Brenner, who plays Charlie. Ewan, I actually only really know from Train Spotting. He played a character named Spud in Train Spotting. He's done a bunch of other things. But Charlie, is his work as Charlie, it's very brief, but it's also so sad. I mean, Charlie wants to be like this real hard, like I'm a guy and I'm not afraid of anything and I'm strong and powerful and this doesn't affect me. It does. And it's so sad to watch a human being be chipped away by the horror that is war. And his performance was so touching and beautiful. But I have to say, this film is just amazing. If you're a superhero fan, see this film. If you're a movie fan, see this film. If you're a human being with 2 legs and a working brain, see this film. Get yourself to the theater. I don't care how you do it. It is fantastic. And it shows for all the people who have been naysaying negative Nancy's out there saying, DC can't make a good movie. Meh. You're wrong. What do you think?
I loved it, but it has its flaws. We're gonna go there.
It does. You're right.
There are a couple of big flaws in it, and you have to be able to overlook them, which is what suspension of disbelief is about.
Yep.
It's easy to overlook them when you're watching the film, and it's definitely the best of the DC universe so far. I loved Man of Steel, and unlike most critics, I liked Batman vs. Superman. This is easily the best of the 3. Although it's not that far ahead of Man of Steel, which I adored, and it's the only Superman film I've ever really liked. I love Gal Gadot, and it's Gadot. We've learned how it's pronounced. It's pronounced with a long O.
Yes.
It's Israeli pronunciation of that.
And the T at the end.
And the
Gadot
T.
would be
It's
French.
not Gadot, it's Gadot.
Gadot.
She's marvelous.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that there's a number of things that really stand out for me. Number one, the Wonder Woman costume has been redesigned slightly. You have the same basic outfit, but it is no longer the red, white, and blue of the American flag because they are trying to go more international with the character. They want the movie to play, all over the world, and they don't want Wonder Woman to be centered in one country. While comic purists are having a fit about that, it works fine with the context of the way that they're doing the DC Universe. I have no problem with it. It looks great, and it's close enough to the original design that it really is not the abomination like Kathy Lee Crosby wore, or the one that Adrian Palicki wore a couple years ago in The Unsuccessful Pilot.
If you've never seen the Kathy Lee Crosby version of Wonder Woman,
consider yourself lucky.
And you think you can stand it.
We've done it on Drive-In Dungeon a few years ago, and it's
Don't
just,
say
it's
we
crazy.
didn't warn you.
Chris Pine is awesome in everything he does, and I like him. And he has this now trifecta now. He's got the macho guys all taken up. Captain Kirk, Jack Ryan, and Steve Trevor. Now, all the big macho characters stock characters are out of the way. He's going to have to come up with some other original stuff. His chemistry with Gal is freaking off the chart. They are so good together and so funny. The movie's got a lot of funny elements.
It does.
Don't kid yourself. It's a serious film. It's not a laugh a minute like some of the Marvel stuff can be, but it is humorous. And most of it has to do with the other big problem that this movie has. It is from the time they leave Themyscira to the end of the film, in the exact same order. It's very derivative of Captain America: The First Avenger. You have the arrival, the fish out of water, the grouping of meeting the person that they're going to work with, the grouping, the going behind the enemy line. It all plays out in the same basic order that it played out in that film. But it does it in an original way. It doesn't do it in the same exact way. So, of course, it's going to work. But it is very, and you were like, well, doesn't that mean every time a boy meets a girl and fall in love, it's a derivative movie? No, it doesn't. We had this argument the other night. I'm not saying it's a bad film, and I'm not saying it's bad to be derivative and get inspiration from the earlier film. I'm just saying that it plays out in the exact same stock order that film did too.
Okay, all right.
But it's terrific, and she has great chemistry with everybody. Saeed Tagmaoui, I think his name is, or Maui, who plays Samir, has a very telling conversation with Diana. Mm-hmm. After her spectacular run through No Man's Land, which is just the best sequence in the entire film.
Which makes perfect sense when you think about it, because who's going to make their way through No Man's Land?
Yeah,
a woman.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
It's a great insight into these people that Steve Trevor has aligned himself with, and it's really something. Director Patty Jenkins does some great stuff here. Jenkins, her only other film was the Academy Award-winning film Monster, which gave Charlize Theron an Oscar for Best Actress. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the Academy will go that far with this film, but everything works. Patty Jenkins directing is fantastic. I love the score. Some people have had complaints about the score by Rupert Gregson-Williams. I don't have a complaint with it. And, of course, it reuses the Junkie XL Wonder Woman theme that was done for Batman vs. Superman. It has a terrific end title theme called To Be Human from Sia, which better be up for Best Original Song next year. Love that.
R.E. the Academy Awards, considering the fact that it's taken us how long for that group of tired old men to acknowledge, science fiction, fantasy, and horror.
We're getting there.
I'm not holding my breath for them to acknowledge that superhero movies are not just popcorn fare.
Yeah. But it's definitely, it sets a new tone for it's not your mom and dad's Wonder Woman.
No.
The one big question I have about it is, and something that people are bringing up, is that they've made it clear in Batman vs. Superman that she abandoned the man's world for 80 years after World War I. Mm-hmm. Wonder Woman is best known for fighting the Nazis, and we're interested in seeing how they're going to explain a way that she didn't get involved with that, because that was worse than anything.
Yeah.
We'll probably touch on that, hopefully, in Justice League come November. We'll see.
Hopefully this isn't a big spoiler for people. I don't know. But they, like you just mentioned, she had said that she had walked away from the man's world. She brings up in this movie, or it's brought up to her in this movie, that if she leaves Paradise Island, Themyscira, she can't come back.
Right.
So what the hell was she doing during World War II, Vietnam, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
Right. We'll have to figure that out as
so
time
on
goes
and
on.
so forth.
But other than that, and the little flaws that I have to complain
Yeah.
about it is a kick-ass film, and
There
definitely
is a-
worth seeing over and over again. What's your score?
My score is a definite, very positive A.
I give it an A- just for a slip of, a couple things that are bugging me, but I'll tell you something. Like I said, it's easily the best film in the DC Extended Universe so far. Now we have to look forward to Justice League in November. You had one last comment?
Well, just real quick, and this isn't going to give anything away about the film either, so it's not really a spoiler, but it is a little bit of a hint for those of you guys out there who haven't seen it yet, and I can't believe there's any of you. When it comes to Danny Houston's character and what people think of his identity and stuff, think Star Trek V, and you'll get the answer before the characters do.
Wonder Woman showing all over the country in theaters and drive-ins everywhere. Check it out.
Subject Cinema.
Lively as summer. Want to know what new films are coming out this weekend? Hi, I'm TC Kirkham of Subject Cinema, inviting you to check out 3 Minute Weekend, our weekly roundup of all the new films hitting U.S. theaters each weekend. We've got the 411 on all the new blockbusters, indies, and video on-demand choices for you each week. 3 Minute Weekend, every Friday morning from Subject Cinema and eCinemaOne.com, a PNRNetworks podcast powered by Libsyn. Subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast service.
Don't forget to subscribe to Subject Cinema on iTunes. Click on the iTunes link on our sidebar or search for Subject Cinema on iTunes. Once you're there, click subscribe. It's that easy. And don't forget to leave us a comment on our iTunes page and tell everyone what you think of Subject Cinema too.
Subject Cinema.
Lively as summer. We were going to do our normal scream and shout for this, but we've got some other stuff that's come up since we first started talking about it. So we thought we'd throw it all into freeze frame and talk about it. Now, everybody's excited about Wonder Woman coming out. It's the first big superhero movie to feature a female lead, directed by a female director, and it's been a big, huge hit at the box office this weekend. And back last week, Alamo Drafthouse in Austin, Texas, of course, Alamo, a large chain, growing chain of independent theaters, announced that they were going to run some all-female screenings of the film. That would celebrate not just a women-only audience, but female projectionists, chefs, and other theater staff. When the first one sold out, they quickly did another one. And then the internet went kind of insane. The troll internet went insane with men claiming discrimination, and this is an abomination, and blah, blah, blah. We don't get men-only screenings. How dare you give this inferior species, somebody actually said that, their own screenings. And Alamo responded to this criticizing stuff by adding more of these across 2 or 3 of their other theaters in other states. And they did add another one, which somebody had asked them on Twitter. One of these complaining people named Bill Fairbrother asked them, "Have you ever hosted a men's only showing of any film?" To which Alamo Drafthouse Austin replied, quote, "We've never done showings where you had to be a man to get in, but we did show the Entourage movie a few years ago," which was basically a men, it was a smart aleck slam on that. Later on, the mayor of Austin got a complaint from somebody.
No, I'm taking this.
Okay.
This is mine. This is all mine.
Okay.
A gentleman that gave his name as Richard A. Amaduri wrote to the mayor of Austin, Texas, a man named Steve Adler. I'm assuming no relation to Guns N' Roses' former drummer.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
And and Mr. Amadori's letter was basically full of so much hate and vitriol toward the female sex that you'd almost think it was a joke. He says that he hopes that this is a quote from this letter, quote, "I hope every man will boycott Austin and do whatever he can to diminish Austin and to cause damage to the city's image. The theater that pandered to the sexism typical of women will, I hope, regret its decision. The notion of a woman hero is a fine example of women's eagerness to accept the appearance of achievement without actual achievement. Women learn from an early age to value makeup, that it's okay to pretend you are greater than you actually are. Women pretend that they do not know that only men serve in combat because they are content to have an easier side," end quote, etc., etc., so on and so forth. I'm not reading the rest of this swill, except to say that at one point, Mr. Amadori refers to women as, quote, "the second-rate gender," end quote, etc., and so on ad nauseum.
Now, the mayor of Austin, he's a pretty savvy guy. I mean, you have to be savvy to be the mayor of one of the most popular arts-oriented cities in the country. He posted the exchange on his blog and answered it this way. He decided to alert the writer of this letter, quote, "Your email account has been hacked by an unfortunate and unusually hostile individual. Please remedy your account security right away, lest this person's uninformed and sexist rantings give you a bad name. After all, we men have to look out for each other." Which
end quote.
I thought was one of the funniest ways of diffusing this I've ever seen. Now, we were going to give Mr. Mayor Adler, his honor, a scream and shout, and then on Friday, it got really, really weird. A law expert in Albany, New York, Stephen Clark, has filed a formal legal complaint with the Austin City Council saying that the Wonder Woman screenings for all females violate the city's anti-discrimination laws. Now, this is the interesting thing about this. Now, don't be smart. No, don't do that. That's not fair. That's doing that to she's over here like she's sucking on something and we're not going to say what it was. Laws are laws. They're not meant to be flouted. They have to be respected. Anyway, Professor Clark says this, quote, "I'm a specialist in anti-discrimination law, so I was fairly certain that this was not lawful. If they were trying to do a gay-only Brokeback Mountain screening, I would feel the same way," close quote. Professor Clark is out as a gay man, so obviously he knows what discrimination can be like. According to the Austin Statesman, their newspaper, Austin City Code does not allow, quote, "public accommodation to limited services on the basis of gender or other factors like race or sexual orientation," close quote. Which means, technically, that the screenings are in violation of city code. Now, my question is this. Who cares? It's 2 screenings in Austin and a couple screenings in New York and one other city.
Yeah. And can I bring up...
What harm is it doing? Now, granted, this complaint and 2 other complaints that have come in from 2 other cities, from 2 other lawyers, are trying to make a point here. The point is, if there are anti-discrimination laws in place, screenings like this are technically illegal. I'm not saying that you should flout the law, and at least one of these complaints from Clark was done because of Alamo's own snarky attitude toward the complaints they got. Quote, "Their attitude was really off-putting to me. The suggestion that anybody who pointed out to them that this was illegal was misogynistic or insecure. Granted, a number of the men posting were nasty, but if you're the one hosting the event and you're already teetering on the edge of illegality, you might want to dial back the rhetoric, close quote. Alamo's known for its snarky rhetoric. Yeah. They've used nasty phone calls that they've received on their telephone lines in their anti-texting trailers that they show in all their theaters. Mm-hmm. So, my point is, yes, it's technically illegal, possibly, in some of these cities. But it's 2 shows on 1 or 2 nights. The movie's still available to all ages, all genders, all audiences.
The movie's still available in the same forking theater. Mm-hmm. You can walk a few feet away and still see the movie in the same building.
Now, the only thing that I could see, the thing that maybe might get Alamo out of any legal problems would be, well, and they could turn around and word it this way, well, we decided to do these women-only screenings, and we've invited these very special patrons for this screening, and make it an invitation-only thing to the people who bought the tickets.
They could do that.
Therefore, there's no legal thing because it's not technically discriminating. It's a special event for a special cause.
Right.
Because they have said that the money going from these screenings is going to go to Planned Parenthood. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure I agree with that decision either, but that's my own personal beliefs.
Personally, I would have it go to women's shelters, but
yeah, I think that would be a better idea.
That's just me.
But I'm just like, this is where we're getting to the point of, number one, we should have put this on Hollywood Oblivious. Number 2, the rhetoric is getting ridiculous. I mean, really, it is. It's a movie. It's 2 or 3 screenings on 2 nights. So women can get together and celebrate
a strong
woman female character in a film who has been important to women since her debut in 1940 in Sensation Comics, or 1942 in Sensation Comics. And I just don't see all the problems with this.
You know why you don't? Because you're a man that actually can see that, there are some times when men do stupid shit. Is it my turn now? Can I talk now?
What?
Well, no, I'm just saying you brought up all your points, and that's...
And I'm telling you, family show.
And that's fantastic. No, and I see where you're coming from. And I would like to bring up the fact that if this showing was something that was the however long anniversary of The Longest Day or some other war movie, and some theater said, well, we're having a screening where, if you are a military person, it's only for military people or veterans' families or something like that, nobody would be saying jack.
Unless it was a public ticket. That's what's happening here.
The whole lawyer thing, I'm not even going to touch, because when it comes to lawyers, my opinion...
Okay, can I ask you a question? And I'm not trying to start an argument.
Yeah.
If these complaints had been filed by female lawyers, would you be having the same issue?
Yeah, I would.
Would you?
Yes, I would. Because I'm like, it's a movie. And when it comes to lawyers, for the most part, my opinion mirrors Shakespeare, and I'm not going to bring up the quote because I might offend somebody and they might say I'm being threatening, so I won't actually say the quote. The law thing, I mean, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand where they're coming from. I don't like it. I find it incredibly distasteful, and I'm also of the opinion that this is what you're doing with the court's time. When people are out there actually...
Well, no, not all of them are court. No. They're not directing these at the court. They're directing them to the city council at Austin, who make up the city laws, the city
who's
ordinances.
Going to pay for that? The citizens of Austin. I'm sure they're really going to appreciate the hell out of that.
That's what they do.
But no, my discussion is with Mr. Amadori. Is that how you say his name?
I don't know.
Okay. From now on, I'm just going to refer to you as YA. You beep hole. Second-rate gender. Okay.
Kim Soapbox. Da, 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 da.
Can I bring up the fact that you came out of a person that is a member of that second-rate gender who probably is wearing a bag over her head to like act like she's not related to you?
Yes, no kidding.
Who in the F do you think you are, you sexist piece of crap? Women have what have women contributed to the world? Everybody else.
Can't have babies without women.
You know, basically, look around.
You.
We did that.
Unfortunately, you.
You know, we did that. You talk about women not being in the military and not fighting and stuff like that. Why don't you go tell a member of Israeli's army that women can't fight? I would love to see what one of those women would do to you. I'm scared of them. Those are real Wonder Women.
Yes, they are.
And there are women in this country that have put their lives on the line so that you have the gift of free speech, and this is how you squander it?
Yeah, no kidding.
F you, you pile of dung.
The views reflected by Kimberly Brown do not necessarily reflect the views of the American populace in general, but they certainly do reflect my views as well. Because the guy is a jerk. Most of the people were jerks. Actor Don Cheadle put them all in their places on Friday on Twitter. Mm-hmm. He was like fighting back and forth against this ridiculous thing. My whole point is, let's stop grandstanding. It's a movie. And as they love to say on Mystery Science Theater 3000, you should really just relax. It'll all blow over. Don't you think?
I think so.
And that's Freeze Frame for this week.
Subject Cinema. Drive-in summer.
eCinemaOne is your choice for great info and commentary about the world of film and entertainment. Daily trailer postings, the latest news and film reviews, commentary about the state of the industry, the weekly Subject Cinema and 3-minute weekend podcast, and so much more you won't believe it. New material is being posted daily, so join us each day and see what you're missing out on. Once you visit, you will always be back for more. eCinemaOne from PNRNetworks, eCinemaOne.com. Want to listen to Subject Cinema on the go? Check out Stitcher. You can access all the latest episodes right from iPhone or Android. Check it out. Click on the Stitcher logo on our sidebar or go to Stitcher.com and search for your favorite PNR Network show. Get started today.
Subject Cinema. Drive-in summer. Dixie Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer Salutes are co-presented by driveins.com, your one-stop source for all information on drive-ins around the U.S. and around the world. You can find it at drive-ins.com. Subject Cinema's Drive-In salutes the Family Drive-In Theater at 5890 Valley Pike in Stevens City, Virginia. Nice place, I'm sure. The drive-in has been in operation for 61 years.
Wow.
And have 2 screens with 17 staffers, hardworking, making everybody's fun go crazy. They use the slogan, Magical Movie Memories Under the Stars. And they have 2 other multiplex theaters in their area. They are the only drive-in in their area. Things that make it special, they are a standard 50-style drive-in theater with the old classic speakers, although they do offer the FM stereo radio
that's great.
Sound as well. They have a large playground in front of the screen. They offer unique 2-seat swings on our screens to enjoy the films. I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to take a look at their website a little bit closer because that sounds interesting.
I don't know either, but it does sound kind of cool.
Yeah.
If you don't want to sit in your car, it's a nice balmy night, you can sit in the swing and watch the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that they have them nearby or something.
Yeah.
They have a full line of concessions. They are pet-friendly.
Wow.
They offer double features of first-run movies with triples and Ducks to Dawn shows throughout the season, offering patrons unique events throughout the season like movie-related events or holiday season events free of charge for attending the movies. They are the only remaining drive-in theater operating in the D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia metro area and are a co-sponsor of several travel initiatives for the Commonwealth of Virginia and were recently highlighted in a special video from the governor of Virginia. They do a they participate in the annual 43-mile yard crawl on U.S. Route 11 in August. A yard crawl was explained a few years ago by Rick Seaback in one of his specials. Mm-hmm. It's a strip of road, and this is one of them. They have them down in Georgia and stuff too, where there's a yard sale practically every other house.
Yeah.
Along this long strip of highway, and they are involved in that.
Think
in their area.
Think pub crawl minus the booze, but with tchotchkes.
Yeah, exactly. They hold a classic car show on the third weekend of September every year and have a very large Halloween trunk or treat and haunted trail during Halloween. They have a full line of food options from hamburgers and hot dogs. They are the only official site for Dippin' Dots within 50 miles.
I know some people that would make the trip just for those.
They offer weekly food specials and offer patrons souvenir movie-related popcorn and drink containers that they can use all season long.
Cool.
T-shirts are available at the concession stand and sometimes online at Christmas time. They do have an email newsletter, so you can keep track of what's showing there. They have a certificate of excellence from TripAdvisor and a 4.9 out of 5 rating on Yelp.
Wow.
And they offer promotions on Groupon. If you're a Groupon user in the area, you can take a look at that. Definitely sounds like a top-notch operation. So to Jim Kopp and his staff at the Family Drive-In Theater in Stevens City, Virginia, Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer offers you our official drive-in salute. Salute!
Is the next step the transplantation of the human brain?
The giant locusts have reached the Chicago South Side and nearby suburbs.
Flag on the moon. How did it get there? That bird is extraterrestrial.
Now that's ridiculous, Eula Bell.
Jerry just tried to kill me twice in the last 5 minutes.
Because all you of Earth are idiots. There are eyewitness accounts which state that monster scorpions have swarmed around the wreckage.
Movies.
Then, out of the swamp's depths, again appears horrifying, mysterious creatures, thirsting for lovers' blood.
Celebrating the B-movie drive-in double features of the 50s. This week we're going to go back to 1950, what is it, 57, 59. And I honestly think one of the worst films I've ever seen of this type, because it's just so, really? Produced by Gene Corman, directed by Bernard L. Kowalski, the first of the two films on the double bill this week, The Attack of the Giant Leeches.
Yep. Can
you give us a little bit of info about this white trash meets monster movie?
Yeah, it's basically...
as Leonard Maltin called it, yeah.
Attack of the Giant Leeches tells the story of a small town in the Florida Everglades that the locals are disappearing from at a pretty alarming rate. Nobody notices that first the alligators start disappearing, and then somebody's like, hey, you seen Jeb? Kind of a thing. Because it turns out that there are a pair of leeches in the swamp that have grown to the size of a human being, actually probably a little bit bigger than a human being. And apparently these things have been mutated by a nearby rocket base. Somehow radiation, the whole, atomic stuff makes things bigger, thing that happened in the 50s that none of us understand. So these leeches have apparently been feeding on everything that they can get their suckers on. And after going through the local gator population, they finally got their little meat hooks in a human and went, them's good eating. And they've started to... Now, the scary thing is, these are monsters. Yes, they are. That is very true. But they're actually monsters that are smart. They're not your typical, kill everything, wagga wagga monsters. They actually are taking people from, like, the swamp, people in boats and stuff like that, or people who are led into the swamps by their husbands who catch them cheating, as one happens to one unfortunate lady. And they're not killing these people flat out. They're taking these people to an underground cave. An underwater cave, and keeping them alive and feeding on them, but not feeding on them all at once. So they've actually figured out, hey, if we feed on these people a little bit, they'll stay alive for longer and make more blood, and we can eat. We don't have to eat them all at once.
Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah. So basically, they've got a leech pantry. There's no a larder. I don't know what else you'd call it. And into this mess comes Game Warden Steve Benton, who is trying to figure out what exactly is going on. And he is aided by his girlfriend, Nan, and her father, who is a doctor. And they find out that, holy crap, there are giant leeches in this swamp. And they've been, taking people and feeding off of them in an extremely squishy scene where we see the leeches feeding on people. Now, for those of you who have never seen a leech up close,
they're not a pretty sight.
Consider yourself lucky. They are not one of nature's more attractive creatures. And these leeches are really ugly. I mean, basically, they look like a human being wrapped up in a hefty bag with a sucker on the front, which then they usually attach to people right at their neck and start, as TC mentioned previously, nom nom. So the doc and game warden have to try and figure out what the hell to do to get rid of these things, and they come to the typical human conclusion: when in doubt, C4. Oh, actually, not C4 this time; it's dynamite.
When in doubt, C4.
Yep. Thank you,
See
Mr.
the mustache,
Heineman.
yeah.
And so they start using dynamite to try and blow the leeches out of the water. Will it work? You're going to have to see the movie to find out.
Oh, warn people when they have to go through this, will you?
Well, what do we always say here on Subject Cinema?
If we have to suffer, you have to suffer. With Ken Clark as Steve Benton, Yvette Vickers, recent Playmate at the time, Playmate as Liz Walker. Jan Shepard as Nan Grayson, Michael Emmett as Cal Moulton, Tyler McVeigh as Doc Grayson, Bruno Vasoda as Dave Walker, Gene Roth as Sheriff Kovas, Dan White as Porky Reed. Yeah, I'm sure somebody's really named Porky. Porky. George Cesar as Lem Sawyer, Joseph Hamilton as Old Sam Peters, Walter Kelly as Mike, and Guy Bucola and Ross Sterling inside the giant garbage bags as the leeches.
Yeah.
This movie is terrible, and I thank goodness it's only 62 minutes long.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because it's terrible. Terrible, even with the Misty,
yeah.
which we've seen it with. It's terrible.
Even though the Misty has an incredibly funny segment as a Joel, it has an incredibly funny segment with them, with Joel and the Bots doing a song about the Hicks in this movie called "We're a Danger to Ourselves and Others," which is extremely funny, if not more than a bit cruel to people who live in that part of the country.
And not very PC,
well,
right?
Screw that. It's I remember this movie from when I was a very young girl, watching Creature Double Feature, probably at an age when I shouldn't have been watching stuff like that. But it kept me quiet, and my parents probably figured, well, she's not setting the couch on fire, so, This is an awful movie. It is absolutely dreadful. I have to be totally honest, though, when I first saw this movie as a child, my first reaction was, what's a leech?
Yeah, they're not really well known anymore.
I'd never seen a leech before. I'm this little kid from the suburbs. I'd never seen a leech in my life when I saw this movie, and I was like, ew, those things are ugly.
When the movie was re-released in 1960, it was shown with another classic AIP film that Roger Corman produced and directed, based on the Edgar Allan Poe short story, and that was Vincent Price and Mark Damon starring in House of Usher.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yes, a much better film.
Much better film.
Much better film. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Vincent Price mark, although
you don't need to. It's just, this is a much better film.
Yeah. House of Usher is based on the short story The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, one of the greatest writers in American history. They did take some liberties with the original story. They added a romantic subplot because it probably helped people pay attention better. The whole story is about...
Or got people in the mood, depending on what you're doing.
Well, in the original story, the narrator is unrated and has no romantic relationship with the female lead. So, Philip Winthrop, who has fallen in love with Madeline Usher, has come to the Usher home, which is furnished in early creepy, and has come to take her away from the dismal life that she lives in said house. Madeline's brother Roderick is putting the brakes on this because, as Roderick explains, his whole thing is that the Usher bloodline is cursed. That everybody else in their family has been degenerates, slave traders, murderers, terrible people, and he's like, the Usher bloodline should die with me and my sister. And Philip is basically like, F that, we're in love, capital L, and we want to get away and go off and be married and be happily ever after, blah, blah. This whole thing comes to a crashing halt when Madeline dies, suddenly. So she's very quickly buried in the family crypt. As it turns out, Madeline is a tiny bit less dead than Roderick led Philip to believe. In fact, she's not dead at all. She went into pretty much a cataleptic state, wakes up in a coffin, and things go rapidly downhill from there. As downhill as things can go when you wake up buried alive.
With Vincent Price as Roderick Usher, Mark Damon as Philip Winthrop, Myrna Fahey as Madeline Usher, and Harry Ellerby as Bristol, the butler. Mm-hmm. This was their first big film in color, AIP.
Yeah.
And it surprises me that they would put it on a double bill with something like The Attack of the Giant Leeches when it was re-released.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, because you go to see that, you're going to be driven away before the second film start.
I would have been.
And they did shoot it very quickly in 15 days. It was all it took to shoot it.
Well,
but
Roger Corman didn't get the title King of the Quickies for nothing.
Yeah, but Roger Corman does really good job with the Poe stuff that he did. He did quite a bit of Poe stuff in the early 60s.
He did.
All of them were good.
I mean, people tend to sneer at Corman's work.
Sneer.
I happen to like his Poe films myself. I'm a big fan of Poe's writing. And I'll be the first to admit he plays kind of fast and loose with Poe's work, especially with this film, because I'm going, that didn't happen, that didn't happen, that didn't happen.
Well, The Raven is nothing like the poem either.
Yeah, but if you just, like you said earlier, suspension of disbelief, if you just sit there and watch the film and take it as it is, you're going to enjoy it. I think it's a really terrific film, and it's very interesting for a change to see Vincent Price play a sympathetic character.
Well, sort of sympathetic. He's not entirely sympathetic.
Quasi.
He's mostly sympathetic.
Yeah, he's quasi-sympathetic.
He's doing what he's doing for very altruistic reasons.
Yeah.
But he's going about it in a weird way.
Oh, he's going about it in totally the wrong way. And there is
in a totally Vincent Price way.
There is definitely an incestuous subtext going on there, and you don't really have to squint to see it. But I think that it's great. I think it's a really good film. Out of the two films that are part of the double feature that we're looking at this week, this one is definitely the better of the two.
Yep, you can catch both of them online easily and check them out if you've never seen them. You owe it to yourself to watch Attack of the Giant Leeches just to see how not to make a bad B-movie, monster movie. Mm-hmm. But House of Usher is actually very entertaining. Runs 76 minutes, easily a 90-minute filler with popcorn and stuff for your home drive-in entertainment. Or show it in the backyard for your friends and see what that is and make it a backyard barbecue drive-in for this week's Attack of the B-Movies. Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer is co-presented by Going Attractions, the definitive story of the American drive-in, from director April Wright. You can check it out right now on Amazon Prime or Order the DVD at goingattractions.com.
It's intermission. Rise and stretch time. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for hot popcorn? Your favorite soft drinks are sparkling cold. The juicy Frank sizzling hot. There's delicious coffee, freshly brewed, and all kinds of ice cream and candy to tempt you. Showtime will be announced loud and clear to get you back to your car in time. So stretch your legs. Come to the snack bar now.
Popcorn and candy. Yum, yum. Oh, boy. And an orange, too.
There are 2 minutes remaining before the show starts.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The management of this drive-in theater is happy to announce you can enjoy your favorite form of movie entertainment regardless of rain. No longer will it be necessary to let rain spoil your fun. Now you can keep your windshield clear and dry with a drizzle guard. Simply attach it to your windshield, and in a jiffy you're enjoying the movie without constantly running your windshield wipers. A drizzle guard will save you gasoline and wear and tear on your battery. After the show is over, all you do is take off your drizzle guard, roll it up, and it's ready to be used again, just like an umbrella. So next time it rains, don't sizzle in a drizzle. Get yourself a drizzle guard and enjoy the show. Drizzle guards are on sale now at the concession center.
The show will start in 1 minute.
Get ready for the wildest cross-country trailer truck chase in the history of the American highway. Get ready for The Great Smoky Roadblock. Starring Henry Fonda, Eileen Brennan, John Biner, Doug Taylor, and Dana House as Celeste Lay. The Great Smoky Roadblock. It's the fanciest truckin' you've ever seen. From Dimension Pictures, rated PG, parental guidance suggested.
The show is about to start. Thank you for your cooperation. Enjoy the show, and please come back and visit us again.
Subject Cinema.
Drive this summer.
At last, a warm, sensitive, touching story about the close personal relationship between a man and a woman, between a trucker and his dog,
Fred, I'm so damn tired of picking you up. Fred!
between a father
No way.
and his son,
No way that you could come from my loins.
and how they all took to the road one day for a quiet little drive in the country. From Georgia to Texas and back in 28 hours flat with a truckload of bootleg beer.
I'll be driving this one. Hey, blocker. You be driving the truck. This is Bandit 1, and that is Bandit 2. Mm-hmm.
Now, who would do a thing like that?
You're crazy, you know that? Yeah, you know that. Yes. How much did you say it was?
Heading down south to drive-in the 1970s. This is one of the films I've actually seen at a drive-in and in the big on a movie screen. Saw it more times than I care to remember. It recently played Fathom Events in the for its 40th anniversary, something like that. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But it was a fun movie, and it's definitely got a drive-in mindset. Tell us all about Burt Reynolds, Jackie Gleason, Sally Field, Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah, it is celebrating its 40th anniversary.
And it's the only movie to beat Star Wars at the box office, too. It opened 2 days before Star Wars and ended up number 1 for the weekend. Star Wars was number 2.
Yeah.
Star Wars would beat it for the year end, though.
Yeah, it was the second highest grossing film of 1977. I don't get it.
Because it's funny?
Well, yeah, fine. Smokey and the Bandit is the story of illegal activities that are glamorized for the big screen. Pretty much.
Thank you, Tipper Gore. Honestly.
Oi, if you're going to get insulting, we can stop this right now. You're going to start calling names. Anyway. A Texas millionaire named Big Enos Burdett. What an odd thing to name a child. Big? Strange. And his son, Little Enos, I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole, are trying to find a truck driver that is going to take their offer of bootlegging beer from the location where the beer is to Georgia.
Texarkana, Texas is where they're headed. Yeah.
From Texas to Georgia for a big to-do. I don't see why they don't have beer in Georgia.
At the time this movie was made, beers still have regional areas, and at the time, Coors Beer, which is the subject of this beer run in this movie, was not available east of the Mississippi. So it technically was illegal to carry it across state lines. Bootlegging, as it were. All right, anyway. Okay. It is now available everywhere, but anyway.
For those of us who don't drink and don't remember this stuff in the 70s, because we weren't old enough.
You're old enough to remember the terrible fashions.
True.
Okay.
The thing is, the Burdett family really isn't doing this because they really need the beer. They're doing this because it's fun. Because they're rich and they enjoy watching people make idiots out of themselves for money. Because there have been several truck drivers who have taken this bet on and have gotten pulled over by the state troopers, who are also referred to Highway Patrol, who are referred to as Smokies, because of the hats they wear. It looks like Smokey the Bandit. Into this whole mess comes a trucker named Bo Darville, who is known by the name of the Bandit because he's like this super fast, slick driver. And Bandit works with his partner, a man named Cletus Snow, who is known on the CB radio as Snowman. And they decide they're going
What's a CB radio, Mommy?
It's that thing that was next to your 8-track player in your wood panel station wagon.
Okay, anyway.
I can play dirty, too. The Bandit and Snowman decide they're going to take this this undertaking on because they'll get paid a lot of money to do it. Snowman's going to drive the truck that is going to have the beer in it, and Bandit will be driving a black Trans Am as a diversion / lookout. He'll be driving the Trans Am in front of the truck to watch for police. And also because it's a Trans Am, because he's a man and it's the late 70s. Moving on. During this transaction, the Bandit winds up picking up a passenger being a young woman named Carrie, who flags him down while she is at the side of the road in a wedding dress. It turns out that she is a runaway bride, running away from her wedding, where she was almost being wed to a gentleman named Junior, who is the son of the local sheriff, a gentleman named Buford T. Justice. And Junior is, how do I put this and not sound unkind?
Thick as a post?
If brains were dynamite, he wouldn't have enough to blow his nose. If you put his brain in a parakeet, it would fly backwards. Sheriff Justice and Junior pursue Carrie and in turn wind up pursuing the Bandit and Snowman on their journey to try and get this beer to Georgia. And this goes across state lines, breaks a shite ton of laws, and somehow wound up becoming the second highest grossing movie of 1977.
With Burt Reynolds as Bandit, Sally Field as Carrie, a.k.a. Frog, Jerry Reed as Cletus, Jackie Gleason as Sheriff Buford T. Justice. Gotta say it right. Mike Henry as Junior, Pat McCormick and Paul Williams as Big Enos and Little Enos.
And now you know why he's Little Enos, because he's Paul Williams. Get it? It's a short joke.
Well, Pat McCormick was huge. He was 6'5". And large in the stomach,
yeah,
too.
well, anybody standing next to Paul Williams is going to look like Shaquille O'Neal.
Macon McCallum as Mr. B, Susan McIver as Hot Pants, and George Reynolds as Sheriff Branford. This is it's just one of those goofy, all you can have movies, and it's a perfect drive-in fare because these are the people you're going to go to a drive-in. You're looking for a great fun time. Yeah. This movie is hysterically funny.
Yeah, let's face it. You're not going to the drive-in looking for the Seventh Seal or something like that.
No, you're going to go to the drive-in for family entertainment. And while this movie has some swearing and stuff in it, it's still great family entertainment because it's funny.
It's goofy.
Granted, nowadays they'll have bulletins on it because there's gas smoking in it. But it's like, okay.
There's smoking, there's drinking, there's,
Grand Theft Autoing, all kinds of stuff.
Grand Theft Autoing, references to prostitution, not very thinly veiled racism.
And treating the law like it's a joke.
Yeah. Not treating the law like it's a joke so much as treating the law enforcers like they're jokes.
Okay, fair enough. Jackie Gleason has never had a part that he was that funny in ever. I was never a huge Honeymooners fan, and I thought that he captured the frustration and irritation that he's getting his ass handed to him perfectly all the way through this film. And he has a great chemistry with Burt Reynolds, considering it's all imaginary because they only see each other in the flesh in one scene at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So it's like it's all over the CB.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Citizens Band radios are still out there, but they're not used by much other than truckers anymore. They used to be by everybody. At the time, there was a whole, there was a hit song in 76 called Convoy.
Yeah.
And a few other ones.
Movie.
And movie in 79, yeah. And there was a few other CB radio inspired songs out there, like White Knight by Cletus Maggart and
Teddy Bear.
CB Savage by Rod Hart, which if you listen to now is very un-PC.
And
Teddy Bear by Red Sovine. All these, this is a great fun deal. Jerry Reed, who had been acting for a while, but of course was best known as a singer-songwriter, really shines here, and you see exactly how funny he can be as an actor. They would later team up with a few other people for a sequel that wasn't nearly as funny. And the third one, which was terrible. And it was like, you should have left it right where it was with the original and stopped trying to capitalize. But of course, this is the era of when the Hollywood blockbusters were born, thanks to Jaws in 1975. And this was one of those blockbusters that played all summer everywhere it played. It was just out there. Summer of 1977 was a great year for movies, great year for music. And a great year for drive-ins, obviously. They were still around and still operating, and more and more of them are closing, unfortunately. But this movie probably played at most of them that were open in the 70s.
I would definitely say so.
Would you like this movie?
To be honest, yeah. I mean, it's silly. It's weird. I mean, it was weird for me because I didn't see this at the theater because my parents would have never taken me to a movie like this. I saw it on cable, I think. And I was very confused at first. I mean, they do explain it in the film at the beginning, the whole thing about the bootlegging and why you can't have beer in one state and blah, blah, blah. But I was just like, what? I just remember being like, why couldn't you, beer, who cares? But I think it's fun. It's silly. It's goofy. And if you like cars, obviously, the Trans Am in this film is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And if you like cars, that's great.
The whole thing from Wikipedia, the whole thing about the beer. In 1977, Coors was unavailable for sale east of Oklahoma. A 1974 Time magazine article explains why Coors was so sought after that people would be willing to pay the band at such a high price to transport it because they offered the band at $80,000.
Mm-hmm. And in 1977, $80,000 was
it had
still a lot of money. But
it had a lot of lack of stabilizers and preservatives in Coors Banquet beer, which was their Highline beer, and for some reason that made it super special. I'm not a beer connoisseur, so maybe if you're out there and a beer connoisseur can explain what that was.
When you're a teetotaler like I was at the time, I was like, "What is so great about this beer?"
Because it had lack of preservatives and additives, meant it would spoil in a week if not kept cold throughout its transportation. So it was cold transport, and that was the 28-hour deadline.
Well, that's their whole thing: pack cold, ship cold, all that stuff.
Right, exactly.
Like I said, I mean, it's
I've never
fun.
been fond of Coors beer, so.
And don't get pissed at me, and don't. If anybody wants to send a letter and be angry, you can send it to my attention. I'll take your hate. This is an unabashedly male film.
Right, which is in this film, which is in this week's show to help balance the unabashedly female film like Wonder Woman.
It is unabashedly, unashamedly male. And I
don't know, Sally Field gets some of the best lines in this film. So.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. No, I'm saying it's a male film because it's basically about booze and cars and flipping off the man and being reckless and doing all these.
It's hard to believe she would win an Oscar just 3 short years later for Norma Ray. Smokey and the Bandit, available everywhere on video. You can search around and find it. It's probably out there.
Definitely.
Where you can enjoy it.
The best movies! Subject Cinema!
Want to know what top titles from film and TV are hitting home video this week? Hi, I'm TC Kirkham of Subject Cinema, inviting you to check out Tuesday Digidex, our weekly roundup of all the new home video releases in the U.S. each week. Whether it's DVD, Blu-ray, or streaming you're looking for, we've got it covered. Tuesday Digidex, every Tuesday morning, from Subject Cinema at eCinemaOne.com, a PNRNetworks podcast powered by Libsyn. Subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast service.
Subject Cinema! Drive-in summer!
Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie.
In the heart of south-central Missouri, just off I-44, is the small town of Cuba. Route 66 runs through the center of town, and it's got to be Cuba's biggest claim to fame. They have a series of murals around the town depicting Route 66 and the local history, so it's pretty obvious that they've gone to some effort to keep their town on the map. At the intersection of Highway 19 and I-44 is the 19 Drive-In. If you look at it on a Google Maps street view, it's kind of hard to tell a place is open. So when my wife Valerie and I visited the area to watch a double feature here, we didn't expect very much. Neither of us could remember the last time we'd been to a drive-in, but we did remember the fun we used to have at them, and we couldn't wait to experience one again. And our experience went something like this.
Hi, I cannot wait. You know, I don't know when the last time I went to a drive-in theater. Two of us, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just excited. Are we cool this size vehicle anywhere, or are we?
Well, you're small enough you can park anywhere, but tonight we're not doing the rules because it's cloudy, so we don't get busy when it's cloudy.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm Eric, by the way. I'm sorry. And I'm sitting here. Okay,
That's
Ken.
okay. I'm
nice
Regina.
Regina, nice to meet you.
And I'm Karen.
Karen, nice to meet you guys. So you live here locally then?
I live in St. James.
In St. James. And you live in Rolla?
And I'm from Bland.
Okay. We came down from Jeff City, so we're not far away either. So. But I didn't even know.
To go back, though.
Yeah, but we take Americana tours all the time. We just go out on the weekend to different areas, hit all the little stops that have anywhere there's a sign on the side of the road, because everybody's got a story. So we always stop and try to get to know people.
Yeah, that is.
So yeah, and this is great. I mean, look at this. Look at this local support. And I bet when the weather's not so crazy, it's probably even more so.
Yeah, it is usually packed.
I can't believe. I mean, you've got to be able to get a couple hundred cars in here when it's all the way packed full.
I think it's 200 and what? I was thinking 280.
That's
if she puts
impressive.
all the speakers on, yeah, there's about 280 movies.
Do you have any troubles with lights or anything for the?
No.
I can't wait.
If they had lights up on top there, they can, after the movie's done or something, or in session time,
That way people can see how to get...
Yeah, see, that would be good. Yeah, because I bet it's dark. Everybody's trying to get packed.
Before they opened, she was out here checking all the speakers.
Oh, was she?
They work. Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, that's nice. I just assumed we'd have trouble with it, so we brought a separate stereo.
If you are having trouble, there's a radio station that comes off of.
I brought a stereo so that we can tune that in and not have to run the car. Good.
I'm really glad that, this is here. I mean, because like when we were kids, this is where the biggest thing was, to go to a drive-in.
Yeah. We're part of a network called Popcorn and Roses, and the main show of that is Subject Cinema, and they're based in Boston. And all summer long, they're featuring drive-in theaters. So, this is one of the ones we're going to feature on their show, too. So it's like everything I can get.
Where was another drive-in that we went to? Was it Potosi? Does Potosi have one?
Yes. I don't know.
I think so.
The Potosi is a Starlight, I think. Is that right?
That's
Starlight?
The one that we went to, It had 2 places that you could watch different movies, too.
Yeah.
The Potosi.
Mm-hmm. But, this is the only one in this area, so...
Yeah, they've done away with the one in Rolla.
Yeah. I try to sponsor this one a lot because, like I said, we want our kids to learn what we used to have.
Yeah.
Yes, and be kind of comfortable a little bit.
Absolutely.
Right. Because otherwise you're always worrying about somebody taking them or whatever.
It's a part of America that's almost lost.
That's right.
And
absolutely.
so,
kind of like the old drive-ins and whatever.
Well, it won't be if people like you... look at all this. This is great, and it just keeps filling. So good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you get at it. Thank you. It was nice to meet you. Thank you for speaking with me. It's nice to meet you. There are probably... I don't know how many cars here. 40, maybe, counting the ones in the back.
Quite a few.
Quite a few.
Not as crowded as it usually is, she said, because I guess it usually is pretty packed. But because it's an overcast sky, she's not expecting it to be as busy.
You have crashed.
This place just keeps filling and filling and filling.
I'm so excited that I get to train you.
It's gonna be fun. He's destined for great things. Cute.
We are off after an enjoyable evening at the drive-in theater.
19 drive-in.
Yeah, we saw Boss Baby, which was better than we were expecting.
Yeah.
And the new Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Don't Tell.
Yeah, Dead Men Don't Tell None Tales.
Don't tell none tales. Yeah, don't tell. Ain't telling no tales.
Dead Men ain't saying nothing. That's what it's called.
The Boss Baby projected well because it was a bright, colorful movie. The Pirates one was a little bit harder to see because it's a darker movie, and when you had the darker projection, you could see the shadows of the trees from behind, like they said, from the lights of the truck stop.
Yeah, the truck stop behind it
projected a shadow of the tree line against the back of the...
It wasn't hugely intrusive, but it was in the dark scenes. It did make a difference.
Yeah, it made seeing the dark scenes harder to see.
Yeah. But overall, the projection was pretty bright. It was much better than I thought it was going to be. And I can't believe how many people were there.
Yeah.
They just kept coming in. It wasn't filled, but there were a lot of cars there. So people come from around too.
And do they come routinely, or is it just...
Yep, they do. Yep. They come routinely, so it was neat.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, folks. If you want to hear the whole show where they went to this great drive-in and have a lot of fun, you can do it now. Go to Cavebabble.com and check out their latest show. And thanks to Eric and Valerie for being a part of Drive-In Summer.
Subject Cinema Drive-In Summer.
Now you can bring all your favorite PNR Network shows to your television. Check out PNR Networks on Roku. It's all of what PNR Networks has to offer, all in one place. The entire PNR Networks podcast family. Subject Cinema Reviews, Platinum Rose's Garden, Mirrorball Mayhem, 3-Minute Weekend, Cavebabble, and Mashed Up Madness. Plus the latest videos from PNR Networks and Larry 411. All right at your fingertips. And even more is on the horizon. It's literally thousands of hours, a decade worth of great audio and video, all under one roof. And best of all, it's all free. The PNR Network's Roku channel. Simply go to the On Roku area of any of our websites or click on the Roku button on the sidebar to subscribe. And don't forget to tell all your Roku-owning friends we're here as well.
eCinemaBoston is your best choice for all the latest news and info about happenings in the world of film here in the hub of the universe. Local theater listings, ticketing info, reviews of local venues, spotlight on Boston actors, the latest film shoots, and a whole lot more. If you're in the Metro Boston area, you need eCinemaBoston from PNR Networks. Once you visit, you will always be back for more. eCinemaBoston.com.
Subject Cinema Drive-In Summer. T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Jawohl, mein Colonel, headed back to the Moon 13. And the 13 report for the new season of Mystery Science Theater 3000 as a German U-boat takes out a luxury liner and ends up with some of the passenger survivors of that liner sailing into the land that time forgot. Give us the rundown, please.
Okay.
Oh my God, this was a boring film.
Oh yeah, the movie that this film is based on, the Misty was based on for this.
Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Yes. Edgar Rice Burroughs, the man that gave the world Tarzan, gave us the
I
novel.
can't do the Tarzan yell, I'm sorry. It's not one of the things I've ever been able to master.
I could try it.
No, that's all right. No, because we're in an apartment. It'll scare the neighbors.
Good point. Based on the 1924 novel The Land That Time Forgot by Edgar Rice Burroughs, the 1975 film The Land That Time Forgot takes place during World War II. Sorry, I did it again. I'm sorry, World War I, I should have said. And it involves the attack on a British ship, which is sunk by a German U-boat. And the thing is, it is a German passenger ship that was secretly, using the passenger ship part as a cover to transport munitions. So one torpedo and the whole ship went.
That's what happened with the Lusitania too.
Yeah. There are some survivors from the ship, however, and they include a man named Bowen Tyler and a woman named Lisa Clayton. They, along with some other survivors, managed to storm their way aboard the U-boat and wind up. They take over for a little while, but then control gets wrested back by the Captain von Schoenvorts and his crew. The U-boat winds up getting lost, and they show up in a place where nobody's ever been before, an uncharted continent that is called Caprona, which was mentioned in some previous notes from another explorer. It turns out Caprona is a place where evolution never stopped doing her thing, and there are still dinosaurs on this place, and all kinds of fantastical creatures, and also men. Well, the start of men. We know that there are the the people from the sub who are trying to get oil to get back to where they need to get to find out about a store, a pool of natural oil from a person, a Cro-Magnon man. But it turns out they're not the only ones on the island. There are other beings there, and they're not really happy with these people showing up and being all like, well, we've got guns, so now we're in charge. Why don't you give the cast list?
Doug McClure as Bowen Tyler, John McInnery as Captain von Schoenwart, Susan Penhaligon, I think it's pronounced,
Penhaligon, I guess,
as Lisa Clayton, Keith Barron as Bradley, Anthony Ainley as Dietz, Godfrey James as Borg, Bobby Parr as Am, Declan Mulholland as Olson, Colin Farrell, not that Colin Farrell, as Whiteley, Ben Howard as Benson, Roy Holder as Plesser, Andrew McCulloch as Sinclair, Ron Pember as Jones, Graham Mallard as Doucette, Andrew Lodge as Reuther, Brian Hall as Schwartz, Stanley McGeig as Hiller, Peter Spruill as Hendel, and Steve James as First Stolu. Not sure what that is.
I think that was the next
tribe.
Other
one. Yeah.
That was the next tribe up.
This movie sucks.
This movie is so
This
boring.
movie sucks.
It's so dull. It really is.
My mother used to think Doug McClure was incredibly handsome.
Your mother used to think Huey Lewis was incredibly handsome.
My mother had good taste in some people. When she was watching TV in the 60s, McClure was a star of the Virginian, and she was on. She loved that show because of him and his co-stars, and she was.
I think the sad thing is most people probably don't know who Doug McClure is. They know who Troy McClure is from The Simpsons,
right? Who is kind of based on Troy Donahue and Doug McClure as a
voiced by the late Phil Hartman.
Yeah, but I really, this is just so dull,
boring.
A lot of it's in the confines of the U-boat.
Yeah,
and it's just dull as dishwater. But it doesn't help that the Misty wasn't very good either.
You don't think so?
I didn't think so. What do you think?
Well, the Misty that they did for the show, starting with the host segment, which was Jonah trying to get all the bots to celebrate Gypsy's birthday, which turns into all of their birthdays. The invention exchange involved Jonah coming up with a new magazine called M. Night Shyamalan Living. Every article had a twist at the end of it. You see, it's the whole M. Night Shyamalan. Oh, boy. And from there, it went into an argument about Kinga and Max ripping off other experiments from Jonah and such. I thought the Misties were fine during this.
Well, I'm not saying that they were bad overall. I'm just saying that they were.
I thought the funniest.
I mean, the in-theater remarks weren't enough to keep my interest. That's what I mean.
Oh, all right.
The segments were fine.
My favorite segment was the one with Kinga and Max where they're trying to advertise their new restaurant.
The Buffalo Wild Wings ripoff with the dinosaur?
Yeah. I was like, they're going to get the Buffalo Wild Wings people on the phone and they're going to be really, really pissed. I thought it was funny. I liked some of the riffs, but it was really difficult. I think it was really difficult to riff this film because it is so deadly boring.
And they missed one huge potential riff all the way through the film.
Oh, man. Guys, here's the ball. Here's you. Clunk.
I haven't seen them drop a ball like this since the very end of the last incarnation of Mystery Science Theater 3000, when we got all the way through Space Mutiny without a single Battlestar Galactica reference.
Considering that all of the
the guys were like, "Oh, we didn't even notice it."
Yeah, all the space battle footage from Space Mutiny was completely taken from the Battlestar Galactica TV show.
How many Doctor Who jokes did you guys miss last night? You guys, I mean, on this movie, you got in all these other jokes in other movies that are very topical based on what you're looking at. Anthony Ainley, who plays what's his name? Dietz, is front and center. Now, granted, here he did not have the little gray hair on the side and the mustache and beard that he had for a number of seasons playing the Master opposite Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin Baker, and Sylvester McCoy. I'm like, are you kidding me? You completely missed this.
Yeah. You guys really pissed him off. Because we're watching this, and we saw the late Anthony Ainley's name in the credits, And TC got very excited because TC is
I'm like, Anthony Ainley is in this. Whoa.
Yeah.
That means him and Tom Baker both did a bad film before they did Doctor Who.
Yeah. Anthony Ainley played the second incarnation of the Master on Doctor Who.
Well, technically the third. The second one was the Molten guy that was like in 2
the second
episodes.
one looked like a serious burn victim, but that we don't anyway. Not mocking burn victims, but he looked like a brat that had been left on the grill too long. Anyway, so TC was all excited. He was like, "Oh, great, we're going to get a lot of Doctor Who references." And then about halfway through the movie, he's like, "Well, maybe we'll get some Doctor Who references."
No,
almost
they completely missed it. They completely missed it. Shame on you guys.
But almost at the end of the movie, he's like, one Doctor Who reference? Maybe? But the movie's done. He's like, he was very quiet for a second, and it was just, I can't believe it! So on and so forth. See, I'm not the only one in this house that can go from zero to Rage Monster in 60 seconds.
It's just that it was so obvious, because he had a number of close-ups throughout the film. And it's like, you could not miss this.
But I do have, in their defense, I will say, physically
he did not look the same as he did in Doctor Who.
Physically, he looks very different.
Yeah.
And also, he's not camping the hell up and doing the evil muhaha hand-rubbing kind of stuff that he was very good at when he was playing the Master.
Yes,
and that's not a slam.
No, he was. That's the kind of way he played it.
The dinosaurs in this film were puppets, from the most part, from what I've been able to see. They didn't use a lot. They didn't use like stop motion or anything like that. They used hand puppets, and it showed. There's a
it wasn't quite as bad as the ones we would see later on, which in the movie we'll talk about next week. But anyway,
oh gosh, wow. But my big problem, and I realize I am being a total detail bitch about this. I know. We get a shot. One of the first establishing shots we get that we're not in Kansas anymore is when the characters look up into the sky and they see 3 or 4 pterodactyls. Notice I said pterodactyls, not pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls. They're on the way to a petite party.
Private joke.
Danger Mouse joke.
Well, anyway, so these pterodactyls are flying. No, they're not flying. They're gliding.
They hit it right with the riff, which was like, oh, look, a mobile.
Yeah.
Of pterodactyls.
Yeah. Not once did these things flap their wings.
It was reminiscent of Birdemic. Only before the digital age.
I'm like, so apparently these pterodactyls had sex with a hang glider, and this is some kind of new hybrid species, or not? I mean,
how do you glide in a circle? Because we're going around in a circle.
Yeah, they were. So, I was like, so they're stuck? They're in a wind current that's not, going either way, so they're like a skip on a record.
The look of the island is nice. I mean, obviously they shot it in the nice areas in the botanical gardens area.
Mm-hmm.
But, it doesn't overcome the bad writing, the bad acting, the bad camera work, or anything else. So it's like, okay, really?
Yeah.
Next week on the 13 Report, we're going back to the ancient times.
Yes.
And the sword and sandals time of Hercules.
In days of old, when gladiators were bold and men wore shorter skirts than the women.
It's the loves of Hercules, starring Mickey Hargitay and his wife Jane Mansfield. Next week on the 13 Report.
Don't miss it. It's really going to be painful.
Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer Salutes are co-presented by drive-ins.com, your one-stop source for all information on drive-ins around the U.S. and around the world. You can find it at drive-ins.com. Subject Cinema's Drive-In salutes the Harvest Moon Twin Drive-In in Gibson City, Illinois. The Harvest Moon has been in operation for 63 years with 2 screens, and they operate yearly from March through October. They have 20 staff members, and their slogan is, your favorite movies under the stars at the world-famous Harvest Moon Twin Drive-In.
That's an awesome name.
It is. They are the only theater within a 60-mile radius of them. And presently, they are also, and I thought this was interesting, they are the world's first wind-powered movie theater.
How does that work?
I would assume they have like their own windmill or something, their own power generating wind turbine. Their blend of modern convenience, special epic events, and fundraising for charity mixed with old school charm keeps people coming back year after year. They do special events and fundraisers that make Harvest Moon truly unique. Each year they hold roughly 20 events from their luau party weekend to their Pirate Fest, which got your attention.
Yes. Well, any place with a Pirate Fest, that's just awesome.
Drive-In Day, 80s Flashback Day, St. Jude's Kids Carnival, and car cruise-ins to their biggest events, like Fright Nights, where theaters become a Halloween extravaganza. Each one is extra fun for adults and kids, and the events add a little extra to the already unique and fun experience of the drive-in, while helping patrons make lifelong friendships and raising a good deal of money for worthy causes.
That's fantastic.
We raised over $20,000 for various charities in 2017, it says here. I think they meant 2016, including $10,000 for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. From our affordable prices, unique atmosphere, and top-of-the-line cinema equipment, our patrons know we put them first and work exceptionally hard to keep alive the drive-in tradition of building memories for years to come.
That is great. So you not only get a great movie, you have lots of people around you that you can develop lasting friendships with, and you get to help people out that you don't even know when you're involved with giving money for St. Jude's and stuff like that.
Yep.
So everybody wins.
Yep. They have 3 separate food stands that do specialty burgers, food brought in just for special events, like fried apple slices, and their zombie brain funnel cakes.
You had me at fried apple slices.
That one scares me. Must be for the Halloween thing. Chili cheese Frito pie and a large menu. And you can, indeed, buy branded merchandise from the drive-in online as well as at the concession stand. 4 styles of T-shirts as well as hoodies, bumper stickers, and custom memorabilia. And that's very cool.
That's great.
And this sounds like one of the funnest places around. I mean, I wish we could go to the drive-ins more often because we don't have a car, but, you know.
We also don't have any drive-ins around here.
Well, we have enough we can get to. So to Ben Haroon and his 20 staff members at the Harvest Moon Twin Drive-In in Gibson City, Illinois, we offer you a very hearty Subject Cinema Drive-In salute. Salute!
Subject Cinema! Drive-In Summer!
Don't just sit around being a passive listener. Get involved. Take a moment to write to Subject Cinema and tell us what you think of the show, what your opinions are, what you think of the industry, and more. You may even get your letter read on the air. We love hearing from you. After all, you're who we're here for. So take a couple moments and shoot us an email. subjectcinema@popcornandroses.com. That's subjectcinema@popcorn, the letter N, roses.com. Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer is co-presented by Going Attractions, the definitive story of the American drive-in, from director April Wright. You can check it out right now on Amazon Prime or order the DVD at goingattractions.com.
Need to catch up on all things PNR? Then subscribe to PNRNetworks Weekly Blast. Our weekly newsletter brings you all the latest goings-on, the latest news and podcasts from eCinemaOne, eCinemaBoston, Indie Film Spotlight, Platinum Roses Garden, Mirrorball Mayhem, Save Our Screens, Cavebabble, Mashed Up Madness, and other great PNR Networks websites, all in one easy-to-check-out newsletter every Monday morning. Check out stuff you've missed and find great things you may not have known about, all powered by the great staff at paper.li. Subscribe by clicking the Weekly Blast block on our sidebar. The PNR Network's Weekly Blast. Don't miss out. Subscribe today.
Subject Cinema. Drive-In Summer. Dixie Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Yes, we know this is Subject Cinema, but every year in the summertime, I'm addicted to America's Got Talent. The new season started this past week, and it was interesting. We got some everything from a piano-playing chicken to, the gigantic clown that sings like loungy-style ballads, which is kind of weird.
Who was amazing.
Yeah, so everybody says, I wasn't that won over by Puddles.
Well, you're
Puddles'
wrong.
Pity Party. I wasn't that... I mean, he was amazing because he goes out there and he's a totally silent clown. You think he's going to do this whole Emmett Kelly type thing, and he suddenly starts singing Chandelier by Sia. It's like, okay.
Amazingly singing Chandelier.
Everybody that did stuff this week was pretty good that made it through. The only one I wasn't that enamored with was the stunt guy, I mean, it was an interesting illusion with the whole sand thing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Demian Atia was his name, and I wasn't that terribly impressed with the stand-up comedy of Preacher Lawson either. He wasn't quite getting me there.
I thought he was hilarious.
He was funny. I'm really picky about comedy, and I didn't really think he was terrific. Now, going out of my way to be a real nudge here, a lot of people, when I talk to people on Twitter about America's Got Talent, they seem to think that this is an amateur talent show. It's not. Most of these people have appeared or have been doing this for a long time. Some of them are amateurs, but everybody that's won has been a pro, pretty much doing everything. Paul Zerden, a couple of years ago, at Ventriloquist Act, he's been doing that for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done it, Drew Lynch has been a stand-up comic for a long time. Emily West has had a recording contract in the past. It's no different from this year's favorites so far. Darcy Lynn Farmer, who charmed everybody and got Mel B's Golden Buzzer this week, 12-year-old ventriloquist, has already appeared on Little Big Shots and Little Big Shots in the UK. So she's already a talented, ringer, if you want to call her that. So is Merrick Hanna, who danced this incredibly emotional, unbelievably gut-wrenching robot dance thing to I Built a Friend. I've forgotten the artist again. Brand new song that just breaks your heart.
Yeah.
Merrick has already appeared on So You Think You Can Dance and a number of other competition specials. He's only 12. He's charming and he's good, and I would have put him through too. I mean, I liked him too.
He was amazing.
And also Will Tsai, amazing illusionist. This show, I can't believe that wasn't done. I mean, it looks like there might have been camera tricks, but he was so quick with it.
I don't think they were.
The
He
coins
was just that
against.
good.
Oh, that was just crazy.
See, I'm one of these people that when I watch a magic act, there are some people out there that are like,
she sits there.
I do.
You're Howie Mandel.
I do. I'm sorry. There are some people who sit there and they're like, how did they do that? And they want to figure that out.
Matt Franco used to drive her crazy, and John Darrenbos last year.
Don't be that person. I'm totally not that person. I'm like, how did they do that? But if somebody tried to tell me how they did that, I'd be like, don't tell me how they did that. I want to be amazed. And that guy was amazing.
My big thing about this show is they tend to put anybody through in the first few episodes. And to me, I actually subscribe to the same kind of thinking that Judge Heidi Klum has. Are they truly worthy of a headline act in Vegas and $1 million? If they're not, they should be getting the buzzer immediately. There was no purpose in sending Joku, the keyboard pecking hen, through. That's not going to. This chicken is not going to be able to do an hour and a half show in Vegas. Neither is the singing Trump, the President Trump imitator that did the whole "Let's make America's Got Talent great again" and sang some Bruno Mars song. It was funny as hell. Is it a 90-minute show? No. I don't know. It just I don't. This season, the only one I think that could probably pull it off is the illusionist guy, and maybe Merrick if he's teamed up with a good bunch of dancers.
Merrick's dance was so amazing and told us such a beautiful and tragic story.
And the audience was dead silent at the end for about 3 seconds because it just ended abruptly, kind of and it was beautiful.
And I think everybody was also picking up their broken hearts from the floor. I loved Merrick. I thought his performance was just electric. Puddle's Pity Party, when he first came out, I was like, oh great, it's a clown. So that just alienated like a bunch of people. Because I know a lot of people have this thing about clowns.
Simon Cowell hates clowns.
I don't.
So that's amazing.
I personally don't have a thing about clowns. I think being a clown is hard work, and I have mad respect for people who do it well. The thing is, when he opened his mouth and started singing, it literally took my breath away. I literally stopped breathing. I was like...
And she loves that song.
I do love that song. And it made me cry my eyes out. And the other act that just completely won my heart over was Darcy Lynn, who is this adorable little girl who was very shy.
She's taking the Terry Fader tact. Her figures, or puppet, she calls him her puppet, Petunia. Sings.
Who is a rabbit.
Yeah, and she sings like Terry Fader used to do with all of his acts, and it's...
but the voice that came out of that puppet...
Big, amazing voice for a 12-year-old kid.
I'm like, are you kidding? And the fact that she's hilarious with the puppet, you believe that is a talking bunny. Mm-hmm. It is so adorable and so beautiful, and it made me cry.
You had that going all night that night. You were in cry mode that night.
Yeah,
you cried over
was.
Puddles, you cried... Over that, you cried over the thing with Yoli Mayer, who's a beautiful female vocalist that Simon stopped her like 8 bars into her first song and said, "You're too good for this. Get another song." Because he didn't like the way she did it, and she rose to the occasion.
Yeah.
And got through. And
I
she was
can't
terrific.
help it. Hello, estrogen boobs. I'm a woman. What do you want? You know,
AGT will continue all summer and into September on Tuesday nights at 8 on NBC. If you are watching it, you can also catch reruns usually on either Friday or Saturday night and on demand. And we'll bring you the highlights here all summer long.
We are also going to be doing something very special this season when we're looking at our AGT watch. We are going to start the Water Watch, also known as how many times an episode Mel B dumps liquid on Simon.
We are?
I am.
It didn't happen this week.
No, it didn't happen this week. There's still
I suppose.
There's still a whole season left to go, though.
I know.
Subject Cinema.
Drive me a summer. The last reel. After all the kind of goofy stuff we've had on the show, ranging from serious to fun, the last reel this week is definitely devoted to fun, and it's because we had a blast a week ago Thursday at the Wilbur Theater in Boston for the Boston premiere of one of last year's AGT talent finalists, the incomparable Tape Face.
Yes. For those of you who have never seen Tape Face on TV, and I can't believe there's any of you out there, Tape Face is a performance artist, mime, professional weirdo.
Yeah, that's a good description right there. Professional weirdo.
I want to know where I can get that job.
Oh my God, the man is hysterical.
That guy is a freaking riot. He put on his performance at the Wilbur Theater, an all-age show.
Yeah, it was cool.
Although I do have to say good luck explaining some of that stuff to your kid if you're a parent. I was like, I'm so glad I don't have children.
The coolest thing about watching him on stage is he's bringing up people. We tried to position ourselves where we wouldn't get picked on.
Yeah.
He went everywhere. He was up in the balcony. He was down right near us. He went by us.
He passed us a couple of times. Well, I don't think I would have gotten picked because I walk with a cane.
Right.
So I have mobility issues.
Kind of to myself, trying not to get picked to go on stage. But
yeah.
It must be.
Although I wouldn't have minded, but you know.
It's incredibly hard for somebody like this who literally does perform with a strip of tape across his mouth.
Yes.
To communicate with the people you're bringing up from the audience.
Yeah. We saw Tape Face last year on America's Got Talent and promptly fell in love with his act in the space of about 2 seconds.
I was in hysterics from the oven mitts.
And we were...
That was just right there.
We were like, if this guy ever comes anywhere around where we live, we have to go see him. Lo and behold, his tour brought him to Boston, and we grabbed tickets faster than you can see.
It was, and they were good. The price, we got both of them for $40, which was amazing.
Yeah, it was. I don't think I've ever been to that section of the theater before.
We've been in that section. That section used to have main seats. I mean, they moved the seats in and out for the different types of acts.
Okay, all right. Well.
So the seats when we were there last time, where we had regular seats when we were there last time, which was for the Star Wars one-man show. That's 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
he did a lot of the same routines that he did on America's Got Talent. The singing oven mitts, duetting to Endless Love, which is hilarious. The balloon staple gun duel. set to a combination of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and You Give Love a Bad Name by Bon Jovi, which was giving me an ECW flashback. Sorry for the chanting that went on for a second. I might have scared some people.
The best bit of the whole show was when he brought up 3 guys from the audience, one at a time, and had them each do, like, trying to get them to do different moves with their arms. One of them had to, like, raise them up. One of them had to do, like, a raindrop type trickle down. The other one had to do twerking.
Hip thrusts.
Yeah. And it was also they could perform Blame It on the Boogie by the Jacksons. It was freaking hilarious.
The thing that was really funny, the thing that was really funny was, that was great, was the fact that he gives the 3 gentlemen, they're supposed to be wearing black curly wigs to imitate Michael Jackson's hair. The thing is, the kid in the middle
already had that, and he was just like,
he kind of looked at the wig, and then the wig got tossed.
Yeah,
because this kid had a very impressive white boy fro.
Yeah,
and it was
nice looking,
so funny. He did a fantastic job. There's a running gag through the whole thing with him holding a ping pong ball. And the sound guy, I'm going somewhere. Christopher Reeve is laughing his head off. It was so fun. I was in pain when we left. I was in pain from laughing.
The thing that got me, the thing was he used. I don't know if we have any listeners out there. This is a long last reel. I'm sorry. If you have any listeners out there that are SpongeBob SquarePants fans, you're going to know what I mean when I mention the words Krusty Krab training video. There's a bit in this where they're finally talking about the Krabby Patty, and it starts off, and now what you've all been waiting for. Ta-da! 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 And this goes on for 45 seconds. He used that whole clip and was looking at the audience, looking at his watch, looking frustrated. And at the end of the clip, of course, out come the oven mitts, which is what made him a superstar on America's Got Talent last year.
Yeah.
And the whole endless love thing. It was a riot. Tay-Face, we love you. You were a riot. We cannot wait. If you come back again, we'll be there. It was a blast.
We'll be there with bells on, dude. You rock.
You are one insane, inspired guy.
You're our kind of people.
Yep, and that's the last reel for this week. Oh, what another week at the drive-in, and relaxing and fun, and hopefully the weather will hold nice all summer long. Want to remind you, we do have a few things that are very special coming up. It isn't all about drive-ins, although all of our Sunday shows this summer will be about drive-ins. We do have our annual tradition on the 4th of July, which is on a Tuesday this year. Subject Cinema will present the eCinemaOne Rising Stars Honors for 2017. 10 more young actors and 10 more young actresses will be awarded the privilege of being a part of this. And we've got a great track record, and it's at least 75-80% among the people that we've put on this list have gone on to bigger and better things.
These are people that we feel like you should keep an eye on because they are one part or one movie away from becoming a household name.
We'll have some of them in Rising Star Updates over the next month, so you'll be hearing that throughout the shows. And, of course, we always have goofy stuff going on our end, and I have a lot of interesting stuff coming on our website at eCinemaOne.com. This week we will be, in addition to our great drive-in tributes that we're going to do, printed tributes of the ones you hear right here on Subject Cinema, we're going to be introducing a new feature where once or twice a week I'm going to be posting info on a movie that you might be able to, that you've probably never seen or might find interesting, available on either Netflix, Amazon, or Fandor. And we'll have at least one each from each of those every week. And I've already picked out this week, so they're going to be fun. And there's one of the ones that's the one that's on Netflix for this week is one that is played into our Festival of Film Festivals. I've still not finished the PDF for that. I'm so sorry. I usually run about a month late with that. It's been hectic, and I'm trying to get it done. It will be up, I hope, by the end of June, and I'm sorry for so long. But there's over almost 150 movies I have to link to and stuff, and it's very hard. But I will get it up, even if it is late, and I hope you'll keep watching for that. Platinum Rose's Garden is officially over for the season.
Yes.
But you will be doing some summer stuff this year.
Yes, I will. Platinum Rose's Garden has wrapped up for season 12 of Supernatural. You can go check out my most recent show, which is me looking back on season 12 and giving my opinion of the season and what happened during the show and stuff like that.
She's had a couple of really good shows the last couple of weeks.
But I will be popping in every once in a while during July and August and September as we wait and wait and wait semi-patient.
You have a hella long hiatus this year.
As we wait semi-patiently with a lot of nail biting and hair pulling and chocolate eating for the return of Supernatural for season 13 in October.
13. Doesn't that bode very scary?
I'm telling myself it's lucky number 13 because denial is not just a river in Egypt, folks. So that's PlatinumRoseGarden.com. I hope you come check me out.
You can also check out Eric and Valerie Lyon over at Cavebabble at Cavebabble.com. They have a brand new show up that is a full version of the clip that you heard on this week's show here about their trip to the 19 Drive-In in Cuba, Missouri. And they're going to continue to do stuff, new stuff all summer long. And if you haven't heard any of their older stuff, you should go back and listen to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to be announcing another new podcast that will be coming along as a summer replacement show for a different podcast we do. And we'll have more information on that as we get going. I'm unfortunately trying to contact people that we want to get involved with this. I've only heard back from one of them, and I'm hoping that we'll hear back from more over the next couple of weeks as I write more and more and more. But it's a special mini-series that will run from early July through early September, and we'll talk more about that as we come along through June. In the meantime, we know we missed Front Row 5 and 10 this last week. It will be back this Thursday. We've only been doing it every 2 weeks for the last few weeks because we've had really hectic schedules. The most dangerous fantasy animals or fantasy figures?
Fantasy figures. This was my idea. Basically, it's coming down to stuff like, where would you put on a list of stuff you would not want to fight? Where would you put, like, dragons or werewolves or zombies or stuff like that? And these are our lists, so it's my opinion is going to be different from yours. And we're also taking into account the fact that these are fantasy figures from all genres and all interpretations of such.
Books, TV, movies, songs, everything.
You probably figure that you could hold your own against one of the vampires from Twilight, but you'd rather not be staring down Christopher Lee's version of Dracula. That kind of a thing. So hopefully you'll come check that out over at Front Row 5 and 10.
That'll be up this Thursday as we speak, day and date, June 8th, I believe it is. Plus, we want you to check out, as I said, eCinemaOne, eCinemaBoston. And this week, we have another site that we've neglected for the last several months because I haven't had time to get it caught up. But BiblioMusica.com is our stories about our memories of bookstores, record stores, and the places we used to go to buy all of the stuff we enjoy, our record collection, our CDs, and music and stuff. This week, I will be doing an update, and I will start getting it caught up. And also, the Kirkham Report will return sometime in June. We will be relaunching the Kirkham Report Top 50. Which is my favorite songs of the week, and we will also be doing a number of new radio channels, including the latest, most recent evolutionary version of Marquee Mix, which will be back up in the next week. It's almost ready to go. I've been working on it for 2 months, and it's almost ready to go. And I hope everybody will listen to that, and it'll be available on all of our websites fairly shortly. Anything else?
No, I think that ought to do it.
Let's pull the top up and get ready to get in the garage. Are you ready?
Ready.
For Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
And may your movies always be under the stars.
Bye now.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema is recorded and produced using Sony Vegas products. Subject Cinema is copyright 2017 by PNRNetworks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
That's all.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.